In today's video, we are going to jump ship over to Manchester City. We're going to give ourselves 10 minutes to rebuild them after their worst season in about, what, 5-10 years? It's been close. The last time they finished outside the top 3 alone was in 15-16, and then before that, it was all the way back in 09 and 2010 when they finished in 5th. They have been dominantly at the top for 15 years, it seems like, finishing these last 4 years in a row they were champions, and then obviously 6 out of the last 7 they have been Premier League champions. They have been dominant, especially under Pep Guardiola. Only one Champions League win though, but it's more than Arsenal, more league titles than Arsenal at that time, so I can't really say too much. And with Kevin De Bruyne leaving the club in the summer for a free, more than likely either going to Napoli, Chicago Fire of all teams of MLS, Chicago Fires instead of into Miami, possibly going over to Arsenal. There's small links between now. Obviously, the Arteta and De Bruyne linked up from when Arteta was a assistant coach to Pep Guardiola at Man City. I don't see that happening. I do see him going over to Napoli as a realistic option. We have went ahead and just released him from the club instantly. We are going to give ourselves 10 minutes here to rebuild. We are going to go ahead and give ourselves 10 minutes to rebuild the squad. We have 156 million in our budget. That is a lot of money-ish, but not really at the same time. And what we will have is Rodri, the man that tore his ACL in the early parts of the season. Probably the downfall start for Manchester City this season. That's how crucial he is to their squad and to Pep Guardiola. We are going to go ahead and rebuild them. Possibly looking at center backs, possibly looking at maybe a winger here for Doku. Cam definitely for Echeverri, and in fact, at the time of recording this, Man City have apparently pulled out of Florian Wirtz. We will not pull out. I will bring Florian Wirtz in. Now it's probably my first protocol in all honesty. And with 10 minutes, we're going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1, and 10 minutes have started. And we have 10 minutes to spend money. Let's go spend it. And honestly, I probably could have kept Kevin De Bruyne here, to be completely honest, because now who am I going to swap? I do know that Bernardo Silva could be on the way out in the summer, obviously getting up there in age. Could actually be going over to Benfica in Portugal, of all things. We are going to have to offer like 120 million plus a 25% selling clause. I might have to bring back Kevin De Bruyne and instantly offer that, because I'm not going to be able to afford Florian Wirtz here. They want 138 million with no release clause. 115 million, see what they say that, only 135. We are looking to sell some players, so this won't be the end of the world, but do I really want to break my budget on him? I kind of do want to break my budget on him, so we are going to break the budget on him. 422, you know what, sure, if somebody triggers that in this one season I'm doing of this rebuild, then you know what, go ahead. 150,000 as well as a week, hopefully you accept that, you do. Florian Wirtz is now a Manchester City player. And we go ahead and trigger our first sale by selling Nathan Ake over to Liverpool for 36 million, well above the market value that they want, or that my board said I can get, even though it's still a B. He could be on, well, he is on his way out to Liverpool. And then we also somehow managed to get 7 million for Mr. Ortega out of AFC Bournemouth, so he's off to Bournemouth for 7 million. Now, this isn't technically a replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, but this is somebody who Manchester City are heavily interested in to really essentially do replace Kevin De Bruyne. I do think Thierry Reyners is more of a defensive side of things than Kevin De Bruyne, but I think he could be great into this team. And with Kovacic going up to 22, I might have to offer Nico Gonzalez, in all honesty. Nico Gonzalez, he's not really going to play in this system anyway, so we're going to offer him, actually, yeah, no, we will offer him plus 35 or 34 million, and we'll add on selling clause. See what they say to that. They might not even want that. They want 48 million as well. We are going to go down to 35 million, 35.5 or 35.6. See what they say to that. Hopefully they accept that. They do accept that. And so we should be able to get him in here for relatively cheap, but still half of that budget that we just kind of pretty much recouped back already. Crucial, yes, that's fine. 4-year deal, that's fine. I'm not looking to do much with this Man City team anyway, so don't mean that much money, but the fact that we spent the bank on it. He's on 150,000 already at AC Milan. We're going to offer him 200,000, and Thierry Reyners is going to be our second official player here joining this Manchester City squad. Welcome to the club. Now, I do want to bring in Donnarumma, just to be completely honest. I want to bring him in. We are looking to sell Ederson in this window to see if we can get any offers here, but we're just trying to do a straight-up swap deal, 25 million plus the 39 million. I actually won't even be able to bring him in with this kind of budget because we won't even have the wages. They accept that. Oh no, I probably won't be able to bring him in on wages. I will try to sell some player for. Why did I say we have 44 million? We don't have 44 million. Ignore that. That is a bug. We have 6.7 million. I know that much. Well, okay. Well, I was gonna say we was gonna sell some player to be able to bring in this guy in Donnarumma. We did sell somebody for like 2-3 million. I think it was around. I think it was 4.25 million, something like that. We just sold some dude that wasn't worth it. I was able to bring this guy in pretty instantly here. So we are gonna offer Donnarumma 150,000. I'm gonna have to see what this bug is about. If I have to use a cheat table to lower the wage or lower the transfer budget, I will. But we definitely shouldn't have 44 million. But Donnarumma is now officially a Manchester City player, and honestly, that could be the end of the rebuild. I do want to possibly bring in a center back. And we go ahead and sell Kovacic to open up that avenue, and he's off to West Ham for 24 million. We are now up to around roughly 32-33 million in our budget. We want to bring in one, maybe two players in the 2.5 minutes we have left. Jack Grealish, do we let go of Jack Grealish? Is the question. We'll try. We'll see if we can get more money to him. Victor Reis, will let him go out on loan if he wants to go out on loan. It won't matter. I mean, I guess. And who is this leaving? Is this John Stones leaving? This is John Stones. Nope, this is Simpson Pussy leaving to Aroca for loan. I think that is John Stones, though, behind him, leaving to Arsenal for 28 million. Maybe I could be getting more. Maybe I could be getting more for these players because I'm at the max, but these guys are offering more money. So interesting. And can I stop hitting higher coach? I've wasted probably a minute and a half of just hitting higher coach. They're accepting 41 million for Jack Grealish. Is he gonna play? I want Doku on the left-hand side. I want Doku to be my starting. So Jack Grealish, goodbye. And is this him leaving? It is him leaving. Or is this Victor Reis? It is Victor Reis leaving on loan to Depleter. It's just wasting my time. I should never have accepted that. I need him to. I need this guy. I need Jack Grealish to leave. Jack Grealish is gone. Goodbye. What a flop of a signing for Manchester City. Should have never left Aston Villa. That's one that you definitely should never left Aston Villa. And with roughly and exactly just under a minute left, we are going to go in for Hincapié out of Bayer Leverkusen. Obviously, with Xabi Alonso leaving over back to Real Madrid to be a manager after just being a player over there. We are going to look to bring in one of their players in here. We're going to offer his market value of 68 million. See what they say to that. Hopefully, they accept it. They do instantly. And let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Hincapié. And how much money will we have over will depend on whether or not we can possibly go after Mark Guéhi as a backup option just to have him. But 5-year deal, yes, this is fine. I'm honestly just going to kind of accept anything that they want. Yes, 100,000 because why not? I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. I can cheat the system, though. I can cheat the system, maybe, possibly. I can't cheat the system. We're not gonna have enough time here. The 10 minute, I'm just gonna call it in 5. Or well, the timer is done in 2, 1, and timer is done. I was gonna try and cheat the system and loan in Mark Guéhi, but that does not work. So that is a 10 minutes in. That's the first time I've actually used the whole entire 10 minutes. Not really buying players, but kind of just going through the flows and ebbs of the system. One person I did not sell that I wanted to sell was Gundogan. So that is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And honestly, Marmoush might end up playing out on the left-hand side for sure, but this is the team that we have built. I am going to put Rodri at a center mid so he plays there and it's not Gundogan on the simulations. That way, Tiana Reyners can also play there as well. And honestly, Gundogan, I'm going to change him to, I'm going to just kind of horrify Gundogan in all honesty. But Donnarumma in net, Rico Lewis and Nunez, one of those two will play obviously at right back. Hincapié, Diaz, and Gavardio as the back of the best 3, or back of the best 4, I should say. Tiani Reyners, Araji, and Verts in a somewhat new looking midfield, especially for this season essentially because obviously all 3 players haven't played for Man City this season except for Rodri. Rodri has played, what, 5 games this season in totality before he tore his ACL. I think he actually tore his ACL against Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken. Did he? No, I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a long season. Phil Foden on the right-hand side. Obviously, Erling Haaland as a striker. And Marmoush or Doku or Echeverri or Savinho at left wing. That will be up for grabs. Let me go make sure Rodri plays at center mid. Let me make sure Gundogan can't take over Tiani Reyners. And then I'll sim kind of month by month and hopefully get them. My goal is fighting for a top 2, at least a top 2 minimum. We obviously want to win the league, and we want to make the later stages of the Champions League. Obviously, they didn't make it that far in the Champions League this season. We want to make it to the later stages of the Champions League this season, possibly later stages, if not win the FA Cup. They obviously actually made it to the FA Cup final, in which they lost to Crystal Palace over last weekend. So we're going to possibly rectify that situation. And all obviously, and just try and get this team back to where it has been for the last 15 or so years. And at the start of October, we are back in the mix, currently in the top 2, currently tied with first place alongside Tottenham as well. 5 wins, 1 draw for all 3 sides. They've scored 14, we've scored 12. Tottenham scored 11 in there. We've only conceded 2 alongside Tottenham, so that's actually massive for us. Our defense is a lot stronger this season. It's miracles what happens when you have your best CDM. Wolves are having probably the worst start in the history of the Premier League. 0 wins, 0 draws, 6 losses in their first 6 games. That is diabolical. Well then, I will see y'all at the start of January, where hopefully we are good enough in the Champions League, possibly the Carabao Cup semifinal. We have a massive round up there against Liverpool. Yeah, let's go to December, and I'll see y'all there. And halfway through the season, miracles have been worked. We sit in first after 19 games, 17 wins, 2 draws. We have more goals than points, which is as it should be, right? Maybe not really. Who knows? But 55 goals for, 53 goals points, I should say. 14 goals against. Arsenal currently sit in second. Another season in a row for Arsenal at second. At the bottom, has Wolves won games? Yes, and in fact, they're out of the relegation though now. It is the bottom 3 of this season in real life as well, where Southampton is on track to become one of the worst teams possibly. Southampton on 7, Ipswich on 9, Leicester City on 11. As far as the FA Cup goes, we start against Sunderland in round 3. The Carabao Cup, we unfortunately lost to Newcastle United on penalties after drawing 1-1 on there, so no semifinals for us. In the Champions League, after 6 games, we sit in 3rd, so we are looking to go through automatically through the top 8, which is not what they did in there. In fact, they barely scraped getting in the playoffs, which is absurd. So there we are in there, looking good there. Let's go ahead and move on to month by month, I guess, at this point, and we'll check in, and we'll see whether or not we're in the round of 16 or in the playoffs of the Champions League. We have 2 players injured, hopefully not serious term, but 2 players are injured there. And at the start of February 1st and at the end of the league phase, we currently sit in 3rd. We were 2 points off of Atletico Madrid, tied on points with Barcelona, undefeated in the league phase as well. We are still in the FA Cup. We are now taking on West Ham in round 3 after we took down Sunderland 2-1. So we scraped by Sunderland. And then in the Premier League, we're obviously still undefeated. Pick up another draw, though, in there. We remain 10 points ahead of Arsenal. We'll see what happens in the next couple of months here with this squad, but the rebuild is going exactly as I planned and kind of thought it would go with the additions we brought into the squad. And at the start of April here, we sit first in the Premier League, 15 points ahead of the Arsenal. 0 losses. We are looking to do Arsenal and do it better, doing the invincible run there. In the FA Cup, we are in the semifinals. Against that, we are taking on Hull City in the semifinals of the FA Cup. As far as the Champions League goes, we are in the quarterfinals where we are taking on Barcelona. Now, if you remember, Barcelona actually finished second with us in the league phase there. We went ahead and obviously in the round of 16 took on Atalanta, in which we won 5-3. Also, by the way, I do have Atalanta, Inter Milan, and AC Milan all licensed properly in the game. You can see there AC Milan, who obviously got thrashed by Liverpool, but Inter Milan, they're licensed fully in the game now, except the tifos and stuff on the stadiums. Those are all still the generic names that EA have given them. But Barcelona in the Champions League quarterfinals here, 15-point lead in the Premier League. We're going to go ahead and sim here through the Barcelona game and see if we can get the win and move on to the semifinals of the Champions. Barcelona in the Champions League. The first leg here is a 1-1 draw. We did just lose our first game of the season in the Premier League as well. I'll show y'all to that who is after this. A 3-1 win or a 2-0 win against them. And then Barcelona and Man City in the second leg here. Are we out? We are possibly out. 2-2 there. Lewandowski picked up the man of the match. We are out of the Champions League. So despite having a fantastic season, we are out of the Champions League. We also lose our first game of the season in the Premier League to Manchester United. So in a matter of weeks, our season has gone downhill drastically, at least far as the champions. We can still win the FA Cup, and we will obviously still win the Premier League, but we won't do it invincible. Well then, hopefully we don't lose the whole. It's the FA Cup final here at Wembley against not Manchester City, against Tottenham. We are going to go ahead and quick sim it here. Can we pick up the first trophy of the season? And we do. Marmoush with the brace, a goal in each half, and a 2-1 win. We go ahead and lift the FA Cup trophy. That's a domestic double for sure, because we obviously will win the Premier League, but those will be the only 2 trophies we lift this season, which ain't that bad. We're 8 points now ahead of Arsenal. We're kind of falling off there against Arsenal, which is slightly concerning, but still gonna win the league, at least there, with 2 games left to go. And in fact, we are gonna win the game with 2 games left to go, because they cannot catch us. And so, final game of the season here against Fulham. Can we end it with the bang at the Craven Cottage? The answer is yes. A 3-1 win where Marmoush, Tiani Reynolds, and Florian Wirtz all score the goal. A 3-1 win. We do not get the Centurions. We do not go invincible, but we do win the Premier League at least with 1 loss on our record. We didn't score 100 goals at the end there. We were absolutely flying, and then we kind of hit a roadblock with Manchester United and a roadblock with Barcelona, and we've just been cruising ever since then. Obviously not losing games, but picking up more draws than not. But 95 points after having an abysmal season this season. That is going to be a successful rebuild. It was always going to be a successful rebuild. This is just a cheap video that I didn't have time to really do a proper rebuild for tomorrow, which tomorrow is this video coming out. So I do apologize for that. I do apologize for not having videos out on Monday for the last 2 weeks. Hopefully I can rectify that, but life has been crazy over the last couple of weeks there at the time of where Monday videos would normally come out. Southampton, Ipswich, and Leicester, we say goodbye to you just like we're saying goodbye to you in real life. Bournemouth are sitting in 17th, Nottingham Forest in 15th. As far as the rest of the competitions go, FA Cup, obviously we beat Manchester City. Obviously we beat Tottenham, I should say. Tottenham do pick up a trophy. They win the Carabao Cup. The Champions League final is between Arsenal and Real Madrid, which is interesting. This obviously couldn't have happened in real life. Well, it could have, but it couldn't after the playoffs and stuff like that. This did happen in real life, though, in the quarterfinals, in which Arsenal won that. So it's actually good to see that going on. And Arsenal took down Inter Milan to get to the final. They also went ahead and took down Liverpool in the round of 16. They took down Leverkusen. Were they in the playoffs? They were not in the playoffs. So they finished in the top 8, beat Bayer Leverkusen, beat Liverpool, beat Inter Milan, and now are in the final where Real Madrid, they take down Barcelona 4-0 in an El Clasico. So 2-0 back-to-back wins there in the El Clasico semifinal. In the quarterfinals, they thrashed Borussia Dortmund 7-1. And the round of 16, they took down Juventus. And then in the playoffs, did they play in the playoffs? No. So finishing top 8, beat Juventus, thrashed Borussia Dortmund, handled business against El Clasico rivals Barcelona, and now looking to do the same against Arsenal in Munich. We don't really care about the rest of the competitions because those competitions means absolutely nothing to this Manchester City club. Top goal scorer, Marmoush, who had 34 goals, and Haaland did play only 18 games. I wonder if he got hurt. He had to get hurt. There's no way somebody is playing striker. Marmoush is not playing striker over Erling Haaland. He's just not. Not 90 overall to 85 overall, 84 overall. That's just not going to happen in the database. So Haaland had to get injured and ended up only playing 18 games and scoring 18 goals. That is interesting there. But Marmoush with 34 goals, Phil Foden with 23, Florian Wirtz with 20 in his first season at the club. That's going to be it for this video. A proper rebuild on Friday, hopefully. But until then, leave a like, subscribe, and peace out.